Hello and welcome to Full Time Score with your host TC Ramokwasi. Yeah, man, this is episode number 13. It's been a while since we did some video and episode. I've been on a bit of a sabbatical from doing videos. My apologies for that, but I'm back, and I imagine there's no better way than to come back with what I believe is the premium football tournament in the world, the UEFA Champions League. I prefer personally the Champions League over World Cups, Euros, AFCONs, CONCACAF or Copa de America, whatever. I prefer the Champions League, and every year I'm vindicated. I'm vindicated why I want this. I prefer this because it's strength against strength. It's competitive every year, and it's just beautiful to watch. And what we just saw, especially in the Santiago Bernabeu on Wednesday night, perfect. That's what you want to see in a football match. As much as in Sevilla on Tuesday, rather, it was also quite excellent to watch. Great game. But I think, Wednesday's game was just much better. We've got two worthy opponents in the final. So in this video, we're going to discuss the semi-finals, and then we're going to discuss the final about what's happening. Before all of that, please do subscribe to our channel and hit the notifications button so that whenever I release a video, usually a Monday or Tuesday, on days like this, on a Thursday randomly when something happens during the week, we release as well. And once that, you can get notifications. With that, all of that said, let's get into the video. Let's start off with what happened at the Santiago Bernabeu when we had that Real Madrid up against Manchester City. Coming into the game, Man City are leading 4-3. I just want to go back. In the post-match, I spoke to a lot of Man City fans that I know. I know too many. I'm actually surprised there's so many Man City fans. I spoke to a lot of them, man. I remember just saying, I hope Man City don't regret not finishing off Madrid at the Etihad Stadium. I always believe if you're going to score 4 goals against any opponent, you should not concede more than 2, especially in a 2-legged match. If you want to win 4-1, 4-2 at most, at worst. 4-3, it still gives them a 75% chance of winning the match. And Man City played brilliantly in the first half at the Etihad Stadium. Real Madrid matched them, basically. They didn't match them on the scoreline, but for performance, they matched them. It was a fantastic football match the previous week. Then we come to last night's match on Wednesday, where it's 4-3, it's delicately balanced. First half, both teams canceled each other out. Manchester City had to play someone in order to try and counteract the pace of Vinicius Jr. And they did that. Now, I'm specifically focusing on City's tactics. I'll come to Madrid. And, Kyle Walker did a good job. He's unfit in terms of injury. He's not fit to play, rather. He's got an injury, carrying an injury, but he played through it in the semi-final for his club. He deserves a lot of respect from his fans. On top of that, you could see that both teams were cancelling each other out in every position. Man City, as I said, the biggest thing they did was bring Kyle Walker on, but Kyle Walker couldn't last the game, so they had to eventually bring on Alexander Zinchenko. He came on. They moved Joao Cancelo to the right. And I still think both players did a good job on Vinicius, because Vinicius is probably one of the most dangerous players in the world, especially when he runs in behind. Man City play a high line of football. It's part of what they do because they play the high press. High press teams. You can look at even Liverpool. You can come to Sundowns locally. You can go all over, even Bayern Munich. They play high press football, so they have to have a high defensive line, meaning the centre backs at the very worst have to stand at the centre line. And it's dangerous, especially if a team can beat the first phase of the press. They can exploit spaces in midfield, and then they can try and pass it quickly, and they can exploit that space behind the defense. Or, as we've seen Man City do when they play Liverpool, you can hit a diagonal over the top, and you have to turn the defense. And if you've got someone who's pacey, like a Vinicius, or Raheem Sterling, or Riyad Mahrez, you can easily exploit those spaces behind the defense if you can beat the first 2, pressing phases, and then if you can hit a diagonal, or if you can exploit the space and you can play just a short pass, it's easy to do that. Manchester City were wary of that because Madrid did that last week time and time again. Now, in this game, I felt Man City needed 1 goal to finish the game. I also felt Real Madrid needed to score first. Now, on the Madrid issue, last week, if I was a Madrid player or a Madrid supporter and my team walks off 4-3, 1 goal behind, and we still have to go to our home stadium with our crowd, I would feel the most confident guy in the world. And that's exactly what they were. They struggled a bit in the first half. I think the first half was a bit of a sleep fest. I felt for the excitement of last week, it was contrast, but understandably so, because it's a different ball game now. Now we know what we're working with. It's 4-3. Madrid want to score, but also Madrid don't want to open up too much, because Man City are probably the best exploiters of space in world football. So tactically, Madrid wanted to defend a certain way, and they did that, and they did create half chances. Edison had to make a save or two, Courtois had to make a save or two, but overall you start thinking Madrid have that one thing that none of the teams in the current Champions League have, and that's consistently winning experience. This Madrid side is led obviously by Karim Benzema, and they've also got Modric, Toni Kroos, Casemiro, he's also there, Thibaut Courtois, those guys were there when Madrid was still winning those Champions Leagues. I think Courtois was there for 1 or 2, but majority of them, that's Benzema, of course, Casemiro, I mentioned, Modric, Kroos, all those dudes, they were there when Madrid were winning, when they had Ronaldo, Ramos, and all these players. They were winning, and they know how to win. They know how to deal with pressure situations. They know how to manage pressure situations. They know how to manage adversity. That thing you just don't buy. You don't go to a club or wherever and you buy big match temperament. You develop it by constantly being in a position of semi-finals, finals, where the pressure is on. I've seen this throughout my love for sports, my love for football. The All Blacks took 24 years. They won the first World Cup, if you speak rugby. First IRB World Cup in 1987. The All Blacks won it. They couldn't win it until 2011. Our cricket team, South African cricket team, the Proteas, never been in a final of an ICC tournament. Always losing in semi-finals. It's called BMT, big match temperament. Real Madrid have a core of players who have that. And the way they handled that situation last night speaks volume to that. Manchester City score a goal. I thought it's over, by the way. I thought it's over when City scored. I thought this is done. But City, to their credit, not City, but Madrid, to their credit, didn't give up. And the saying, cometh the man, cometh the hour. Here comes a younger player in Rodrigo. And first goal, Man City were flat-footed. He's the one with the tippy toes. They always say, always be on your toes. 1-0, or rather 1-1. Second goal, again, Man City just trying to hold on for dear life. Crowd is on them now. Everybody's now in. Rodrigo, bang. 2-1. And now it's what? It's 5-5 on aggregate. Game 1. Man City, shell-shocked at that point. Real Madrid, riding high. Man City, just a little bit of pressure, they create more mistakes. A penalty comes. Penalty, in my opinion, Benzema pushed the ball, touched the ball first. And in those cases, again, I've mentioned in a previous video about Andy Leja, Ali Happy JLA, that if you go into a situation, it's 50-50 and you slide in, you are giving the referee a choice. If that guy touches that ball and you are a defender and you slid in, you're going to concede a penalty. If you slide in the box as an experienced footballer, you need to win the ball. I've been saying that. Don't slide in if you don't want to win the ball. Make it clean. Rodri, unfortunately, not Rodri, but rather Ruben Diaz, unfortunately for him, didn't happen. And it's a penalty. Great penalty taken by Big Ben. Everybody thought he's going to go for the chip again, but he went for something else. And now it's 3-1 and it's panic stations, and Man City now have to chase this game. And you don't want to be chasing games at that Bernabeu, especially against the Carlo Ancelotti team. You don't want to be. And here we are today. Real Madrid are through to the final 6-5. They'll be in Paris on the 28th. And I think Man City, whoever they are, they're probably thinking, what the hell happened? They lost the game in 2 minutes. A reference of history tells us there was something called the Blitzkrieg, 1939, when Nazi Germany was taking over Poland, Denmark, and these countries. And they used to call it the Lightning War. Some of the guys who lived back then, in the books I've read. And they spoke about how at night you'd be raided by bombs. And in the morning when you wake up, there's just German SS troopers all over. They've taken over your country. They've occupied it. And that's exactly what happened to Man City. 2 minutes. Man City were in, literally 2 minutes away. Man City were, or not even 2 minutes, but in 2 minutes, Man City's position in the final got grabbed away from them and got taken away. Literally in 2 minutes. There will be an inquest. What the hell went wrong? Pep Guardiola, has now lost 6 semi-finals. The last time Guardiola won a Champions League as a manager, he had Messi, he had Iniesta, he had Xavi. I think it was in 2011 at Wembley against Man United. That's when he won his last Champions League trophy. He's struggled ever since. I maintain this. Man City did not buy or bring in Pep Guardiola to win the Premier League. Yes, he wins the Premier League, and he's probably going to win. I believe he's going to win it again this season. But that's not why he's there. He's there to take Man City to be the club that they think they should be, and which they are not, which is a Champions League team, which is this, super force, superpower. They are a great club. They've done quite well, but they are not the club they think they are. And this is a message to their fans. The message to the fans, I know, and I've seen this with fans that I've never met, obviously online, on other YouTube channels, where they believe that they should be mentioned in the same breath as a Man United, as a Liverpool. You can go as far as they think in their minds they are there with the Bayern Munichs of this world. And I'm just saying, Manchester City are still a great club. They've done well for 15 years now since they got this huge investment from the Abu Dhabi group. What I'm simply trying to say is, you do not compare yourself with a Man United, who have something like 60 trophies in their whole. They have 3 Champions Leagues. They've got something like 20 Premier Leagues. Liverpool, 19 English leagues. They won 1 Premier League, but they had 18 English leagues until the 1 Premier League came into it. 6 Champions League. They're in their 10th final in their history. You talk about Bayern Munich, they've been to something like 13 Champions League finals. They've got something like 7 or 8 Champions Leagues. Madrid, we all know they've got 13. They've been now to 17 finals. You don't mention yourself in that breath as a Man City supporter. That's all I have to say. I don't want to criticize anything. I think Man City are the best team in world football for me, the way they play, the way they've gone about it. I just don't like how there's this, they maybe think, they are that club. Yes, they need to be mentioned currently as the best team in world football currently, but you're not in the same level as those clubs that have been doing it since 1950. The Man Uniteds, the Liverpools, the Glasgow Rangers, Glasgow Celtics, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Ajax Amsterdam, AC Milan. You're not in the same breath as those football clubs, more particularly when it comes to the European Cups. They are not there. They're simply not there. But history is meant to be broken. So Man City have the next 100 years to get there. That's just how life works. They're just not there yet. Kudos to, first of all, another coach, Carlo Ancelotti, for making his 5th final as a coach. Carlo Ancelotti has a fantastic record as a coach. He's won a league in Spain. He's won a league in Italy. He's won a league in Germany with Bayern Munich. He's won a league in England when he was with Chelsea. And he's won a league with Paris Saint-Germain as PSG coach. Those are the 5 top leagues in Europe. And he's won a league in all of them. He's made 5 Champions League finals. 5 Champions League finals as a coach. He should surely be in that conversation of the greatest manager of all time. People always talk about Ferguson and Wenger. Some will also mention a guy like Mourinho, what he did when he was, especially when he was at Porto and Chelsea. Ancelotti's just been there quietly. And I think he's someone that I'll mention. I mean, he's also coached Napoli and Everton. It's not like he's just only coached top rich clubs. He's coached Everton, he coached Napoli, and he did very well at Napoli. At Everton, didn't really work out, but Napoli, he did quite well. So he's coached different teams and achieved different things. And he deserves credit. Real Madrid, man, surprise package in a way. I looked at Madrid and I thought, these dudes, I'm not so sure about this team. But Big Ben has carried the team alongside Vinicius, and with Casemiro and Modric, they've carried that team. They've put that team on their back. And it goes to show how together that team is. It's a fantastic team. The mentality is brilliant. I love a team with mentality, because they were underdogs against PSG. Everybody looked at PSG and I thought this PSG side could be in the final. But the more they played, the more I realized this is just overrated. And they are overrated. PSG are probably the most overrated football team in the world. And they were not, and they got through. Madrid got through PSG. And credit to Madrid for dealing with them. Then they went to go play Chelsea, the defending champions. They dealt with them very well. Yeah, tough game. Chelsea looked good, but it was there. But Madrid, once again, the experience handling the situation better than other team gets them through. Then they come to Chelsea, not Chelsea, but Man City, who I thought are the best team in the world, and still think so. And they deal with them. They absolutely deal with them. effectively, again, the experience of being in a cup situation team and all of that. You know, this Madrid team, it's not the same Madrid team where they had all these superstars around and all that. They do have a couple of superstars and whatnot. I believe Karim Benzema should or more or less be in the running for this year's Ballon d'Or. Vinicius as well, probably one of the best young players in world football. If not, yeah, he's probably the best young player in football, in world football. They've been brilliant, but I loved there's this togetherness in that club that I'm enjoying seeing in that team. And I think it's not a coincidence, it's not luck, it's not a fluke that they're in the final of the Champions League. They know how to win this tournament. They won it 13 times. Also, the way they got to the final, no one really, a lot of people thought Madrid would probably reach a point where someone gets them. Till today, no one has got them. And had you asked me at the start of the season, I would have said PSG Man City final. Then if you asked me during the season, I would have said PSG is overrated, Manchester City up against Liverpool in the final. But it didn't happen like that. And that's the beauty of sports. We never know what might happen. And Madrid have written a fantastic story to this point. I'll say this before I move on. There's a very thin line. Like that. This is like thin, you can't see it. Between confidence, overconfidence, arrogance. Real Madrid and their supporters have been playing absolute jump rope, in my opinion, with that. After the match, Madrid got shreds. I've never seen this in world football. Never. I've watched football for a very long time. My understanding of football grows with every match. In my opinion, I try to grow it. I'd never seen a team in Europe, particularly in Europe, or anyway, win a semi-final, then come out with shirts written "Go for 14." So they wrote that in Spanish. What is that? But Madrid are very confident. Madrid fans are confident, and they have every right to be. If you get through PSG, Man City, and Chelsea, hey man, who are you not to be confident? Who are you not to be? And they have every right to be. I feel like they are slightly a bit confident. They are slightly a bit arrogant, but it's for them. And I'm not in there, and I'm not just saying anything. That's just a personal opinion. I mean, after winning a tough semi-final, you have every right to celebrate. You have every right to go crazy, especially against that opponent. You know, against an opponent of that nature, against a coach of that nature. But you gotta be. You know, I think you gotta just hold back a bit. That's just a Tabang thing. Then we move on to the next game. Speaking of the next opponent, Tuesday we had a good game, and in Villarreal, where Liverpool against Villarreal. Liverpool were leading 2-0 from Anfield. I felt Liverpool left too much time and too little score. I thought Liverpool could have been 4-0 out outside, but it says Villarreal had a good plan and they kept them at bay. Coach Unai Emery, very, very excellent coach this season, done well. I think he should be one of those guys you mentioned in the conversation for Coach of the Year, with the little he achieved, with the little he had, or rather with the most he achieved with the little he had. And I felt, yeah, man, Liverpool first half didn't do much. Villarreal, credit, didn't allow Liverpool to be Liverpool. Pressed, won the ball back quickly, rattled them, and they scored. That's how you really want to start a comeback. That's how you start a comeback. You just rattle, and then you start scoring. And Liverpool looked a mess, and then they scored again. Now it's 2-2. Friend of mine, colleague of mine, good friend of mine as well, came out and he's like to me, at 2-2, my thoughts were it's 0-0. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, because it's 0-0. Both goals are cancel each other out. Second half, Liverpool make a change. One change, Luis Diaz, and it changed the whole game. It changed the complexion of the match. And that's what you need. That's how you win Champions League. That's how you win big trophies, by having quality that comes off the bench. And the game changes completely. Fabinho gets a goal. Diaz gets a goal. Now it's 2-2 now on the score. 4-2 on the aggregate. Sadio Mane, I think, should also be mentioned amongst the Ballon d'Or winners, purely on performance basis. Gets the third goal. It's 3-2 now. Liverpool win the match and the tie 5-2. And in the words of Jamie Carragher, we're going to Paris. I'll see you lads in Paris. Basically, Liverpool secure their place in Paris. Credit to Liverpool. I think they've had a good season. They're running in for 4 trophies. They've won the Carabao Cup, so they're running for the next 3 trophies. They're 1 point behind Manchester City in the Premier League. Still a possibility they might win. I don't think they'll finish it off. They have the FA Cup final against Chelsea on the 14th of May. It's going to be a very tough match against a very good team, a team that also wants to do something for their fans. Chelsea have been through a lot, so Liverpool have a tough schedule ahead. Every game is a cup final technically for them. to be in that position, it takes a lot. You know, every year, Man City fans speak about a quadruple. Arsenal fans used to speak about a quadruple. You know, we've never seen a team win a quadruple, winning 4 trophies. We've seen trebles, and that's been basically the ultimate level of football success. This Liverpool side has put themselves in a position for either it's going to be a quadruple and be one of the greatest seasons of all time, or they don't win. They only win Carabao Cup and lose the final, lose the Premier League, lose both finals, FA Cup and the UEFA Champions League, and then also not make it to the Premier League title. And then it's gonna be one of those seasons where you look back and be like, you know, obviously the rivals, the banter will be funny, but also Liverpool fans will be looking like, we had a great team, but we won one cup. That's how it is. So they've got an opportunity, and I think, honestly speaking, they deserve it. They've been, for me, a surprise package. At the start of the season, we discussed things. I always felt in the Premier League it will be between Man City and Chelsea. I didn't look at the depth that Liverpool had, but credit to Liverpool, they stuck in there and look where they are. Also, I wasn't sure how players like Van Dijk would come back from a long-term injury, but he's been as good as ever overall. And then you've had players that who've just drastically improved. Thiago this season in the Premier League has improved. You know, Keita has improved immensely. Salah at the start of the season was on a very, very high level. Sadio Mane on a high level. Diogo Jota's chipping in with goals. And then they make this ridiculous, crazy signing of Luis Diaz, and who just comes in and he fits in like a glove, and he takes the whole forward line of Liverpool to 1 or 2 levels again. It says something about what they're doing. They're doing a lot right. And it's no fluke that they're in this position. It's no fluke that they're going to place Madrid. As I said, I would say for Madrid have been underestimated throughout the tournament. And that's been their strength, because every game, for whatever reason, against PSG, they were underdogs. Against Chelsea, it was 50-50. People thought Chelsea might get it. Again, they were underdogs. Against Man City, they were heavy underdogs again. Against Liverpool, now they're favorites. And now they think Liverpool are the underdogs. They should be wary of underestimating their next opponent. I would advise that. I'm not saying Liverpool will win, nor am I saying Madrid will win, but I'm just saying that if there's an opponent you don't want to face, it's the current Liverpool side, the way they are playing, based on the way they are playing. And Madrid might think they're similar to Man City, and in Madrid's heads and their fans, clearly they think Liverpool are weaker than Man City, and they got to Man City and they beat Man City. So they think, we got them. These two teams met in 2018, and I want to wrap up there. And in 2018, when these two teams met in the Champions League final in Kiev, you had this fantastic Madrid side that was going for 3 in a row, 3 Champions Leagues in a row. Again, I spoke about it, the experience, the big match temperament. It's something a team develops. You don't buy it and bring it in. It's like experience. You develop it, you grow it. And Madrid had that at the time. Liverpool, Klopp was just starting, he had taken over, and Liverpool are on this high wave, exciting team in Europe, bashing everybody, but conceding too many goals at the time. They go to Kiev, and everything that could go wrong if you're a Liverpool fan goes wrong, and everything that could go right if you're a Real Madrid fan goes right. For Liverpool, the star player gets injured. Regardless of how we feel about the injury and how that happened, he gets injured. Liverpool don't have adequate replacements on the bench, so they don't have a quality squad to say if Salah, Mane, whoever at the time, Firmino at the time gets injured, they could replace him with someone equal, or at the very least at a 75% level of who they're replacing. Madrid, star player for the opposite opponents out, your biggest threat. Well, On the other side, Liverpool's goalkeeper has a bad game. I still don't blame a goalkeeper for games. I think a goalkeeper is like every other player. They make mistakes, but their mistakes literally lead to direct goals. That's why they get the blame harder than everybody else. Madrid, their goalkeeper has a bad game. Heaven for you. But Madrid are playing well, by the way. And, and basically that's the game, the lack of experience. Madrid's experience, knowing how to handle adverse situations, knowing how to win championships at the time. And that's how Madrid beat Liverpool in the 2018 Champions League final. Madrid were well worth their win at the time. Liverpool from then on have gone and developed themselves again. They went back, they bought a new goalkeeper, they still got more defensive recruits. Last season they had a bad season, but they went back and got Gunate, another defensive recruit. They've somehow managed to keep their whole squad fit this season for most of their games, and they're playing at a high level this season. Real Madrid should be wary of. This is not the 2018 Liverpool. This is not the Liverpool they beat last season 3-1 in the quarterfinal stage. Because if you look at that Liverpool lineup, you think about the two centre backs, particularly you think of Van Usman Kabak, who's no longer there. I think the other guy was Nathaniel Williams or someone like that. He's no longer there as well. They've got Matip back, they've got Van Dijk back, they've got Gunate, who's playing very well when he plays in the Champions League. Then they've also got Joe Gomez as well. They've got their full strength team. The team is playing with confidence and it's high flying and it's literally smashed everybody. I don't think they've lost a match the whole Champions League season. They've probably had an easier road in terms of the quality of the opponents than Real Madrid, but I still don't think it's enough for Real Madrid to be in a position to think they're just gonna cakewalk it, they're gonna smash these guys and just finish the game. I think it's going to be a very exciting final. Two worthy opponents. Excites me, gets me going. Very much going because it's interesting to see what Mo Salah's gonna do because he said we have a score to settle. I saw like a post he put up on his Instagram accounts like we've got a score to settle. Obviously Madrid they wore the shirts after the match saying go for 14. They don't. I know for a fact Madrid don't rate Liverpool highly. I know that for a fact. They've never rated Liverpool highly. Liverpool, they want this quadruple, so they could be in a position to make it 3 or 4 cups at the time because it will be the end of the domestic season. So who knows what position Liverpool will be in? Who knows the mentality Liverpool will be in? It's an exciting final. I don't want to get into all that. It's all just theories. But at the end of the day, we've got two opponents that got there. One did it the most difficult way you can find, where they beat the champions of France. They beat the defending champions of the Champions League, and then they beat the champions of England, defending champions of England, and possibly champions-elect of England. You've got Liverpool, who won 6 out of 6 in the group stages. They got through, I think, Inter Milan in the quarterfinal stages. Then they got through to, Benfica. Then they got through Villarreal. They've had, as I said, a lighter opponent level, but they still got through, and they were very impressive in them getting through if you actually think about it. So who's to say who's going to win? Exciting times. Can't wait for the 28th of May, man. So yeah, I'm going to Paris. I'll see you in Paris. I'm kidding. I'll be here watching it here. But anyway, thanks for joining us. We'll be back again next week.